Back on a Thursday. Almost said Friday. Almost felt like a Friday show to me, Brenton, but it's a Thursday. It means Rewatchers Council is back with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's been a couple weeks, but I'm glad to be here, especially since we got Brennen Marr with us. Brennan, how you doing, pal?
I'm doing good.
Fantastic. So, we're going to be talking about Tough Love, the 19th episode in season 5, Brennan. But I think before we do start, the last show we did after we were finished talking about Angel, this a couple of weeks ago now, about an hour after we were finished, we heard the news about Nicholas Brendan passing away.
Very unfortunate, yes.
I think unfortunate, yes, and of course sad. Another thing you could say as well. Um, there's no denying he had some troubles later on, addiction troubles, other things like that. But I was going just through what some of the castmates said on their Instagrams and stuff like that. It took Emma Caulfield a little bit longer than most people. I think it may have affected her the hardest, but who knows? You never want to say anything for other people. She just wrote something very simple, very nice. Allison Hannigan, the same kind of thing. Sarah Michelle Gellar did another quote from the show, similar to what she did with Michelle Trachtenberg's, and uh, two of the ones that I thought were more poignant. Maybe Adam Bush, surprisingly from Warren, on the show, just talked about a scene they had where they were blocking a fighting scene and stuff like that, and Nicholas Brennan actually connected with an uppercut. It's a nice story, and then he puts on the bottom of it to please donate to the Stuttering Foundation of America. Of course, Nicholas Brennan had to overcome stuttering as a kid quite successfully. He did as well. Uh, and then Charisma Carpenter talked about how she chooses to remember the man she knew that she worked with. It was a different guy than this. And I think both were well written and well thought out. And I think the right thing is you can remember him, of course, however you'd like. It's not like we knew him personally. Those who did can also feel certain ways, but I think I'd more choose to think about the way Chris Carpenter did. Just remember him from the show. Remember how you made him feel on the show. Remember how, like, as we didn't know him, just how he'd interact, it seems, with fans. He did a lot of Facebook Lives. I don't know if you ever watched any of that. He'd be sitting around and stuff like that, answering questions.
Oh, no, I never did. Yeah.
Uh, they were interesting. They were always a little bit different each show, either like paintings he was doing and stuff like that. He was doing one, I believe it was maybe the week he passed away, and when he was talking, his voice sounded so. It just sounded so different. But it's nothing that at 54 years old. That's not something that you think, oh my goodness gracious, like there's something deeply wrong with him. It's like maybe it was a cold, but he looked tired. The voice was very gravelly. It certainly didn't sound like him at all. So, just want to say, of course, rest in peace to Nicholas Brennan. I hope his family and friends find peace with him gone and stuff like that too. Just as fans of the show, at least we're gonna, we'll know this version of him whenever we go back to watch the show. And we're just going through the show episode by episode. But when we're done this, when we're done Rewatchers Council for the shows, I'm still going to go back to the show and actually enjoy it again instead of trying to look through it and break down scenes and all these other things that we've been doing. So I'm more looking forward to that when I can just be the fan again and then not constantly think about how he was the avatar for somebody. You know what I mean? And just kind of just leave it to Xander being Buffy's friend, at least trying his best to be. Okay, I think we've talked enough about it for now. We'll still have a couple more seasons of his work to go through. So, Tough Love, original air date May 1st, 2001. Written by Rebecca Rand Kirshner. The last one she did was Listening to Fear, and directed by David Grossman. And his last one was Out of My Mind. That one was also written by Rebecca Rand Kirshner. So I guess maybe David Grossman was the Kirshner guy when it came to directing. And number one movie in your living. I don't know if you remember this thing at all, but the Sly Stallone movie with Burt Reynolds, and it's about kart racing, but they couldn't get a license for that.
I don't remember that movie at all.
No. So it went to number one in 2001. So
It was called Driven, you said?
driven, yes.
Never heard of it. Wow.
I think it could, using both means stuff. So, number one song, of course, "All of You" by Janet Jackson. It was a huge hit. I don't know if there's another number one song while we're doing the show this season. Number one song in the UK. The band was big. I don't know how big this song was. It was number one for them. "Don't Stop Moving" by S Club 7,
Oh,
Brennan.
wow. Oh, wow.
And as you well know, there ain't no party like an S Club party.
Apparently.
I'll be saying that to my dang day. The number one song in Canada was also Janet Jackson's "All for You," but I think we capped it at like 2 weeks. I think that's about right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. The DVD summary now. Tara angrily leaves Tara in a mindless state. Uh, oh, sorry. Glory
I think
angrily leaves Tara.
Tara didn't leave Tara.
Yeah, Tara just decided, you know what? I'm going to just lose it for a minute. Glory angrily leaves Tara in a mindless state after realizing she's not the key, an act which pits her against the all-powerful and dark magic Willow can summon. So, we're going to get, finally, the first look at Dark Willow. This is an episode that's going to define...
Yes, I have a Willow action figure on my wall, but it's not Dark Willow.
Oh, boy. Well, yeah, that's... I think when we get to it, and we'll get to it, it's about one season from now. We'll go down through a lot more about the Dark Willow and stuff like that. But just a little sneak peek at what happens when anger and pain take Willow over, knowing how she's getting more and more powerful with the magic. Something that they fight about in this episode. We'll go through it. First off, it's that scene where Buffy has to drop out of college here. Says it's, she's going to hope to come back for the semester, or for next semester and stuff like that, like they all say. Now, the teacher she's talking to, it's her poetry. She's taking a poetry class in college. Like, come on, Buffy. Well, what's it going to do? When they open up the poetry store, Buffy could be the general manager with that class. Now, one thing you could say about this teacher, unlike a lot of teachers that seem to take a shine to Buffy, this one stays alive. There you go. Congratulations to him.
Oh, my.
Yeah, he doesn't yell in demeanor. So, guess what? He gets to live, unlike a certain other professor of psychology she had, and a teacher she had, actually a couple of teachers she had, back in the good old Sunnydale High days. Now,
Yes.
Ben, turns out, has to drop out too of interning because he's told he no longer has that job. Seems that he hasn't shown up to work for 2 weeks, Brennan. So, Glory's taking out more and more of Ben's time. It seems he's getting a a little upset with this, and he doesn't even get all that much time to himself either, because you see him changing in the locker room. He's getting upset how she's ruining his life, and then starts slapping the locker and talking about how he's Ben because he feels it coming again. It's real fast. There's only little tiny bits and pieces of Ben coming through now, and when Glory does show up, she's a little hungry. Turns out she's a little peckish. Brennan, she's got to get herself some mind food, it seems. You know what I mean? Delicious brain. Now, I like she's having the bath. Every scene with. I don't think this is a secret. I think every scene with Glory is fantastic. Probably, always flip flop between her.
I don't know the actress's name, but she's having a good time.
Is it Claire Grant?
She's having a really good time. I'll tell you that.
Yes, she gets to eat a lot of scenes. That's for sure. Like between her and the mayor, always kind of flip flopping now that we're watching. So of course,
I mean, the mayor is maybe the best villain on the show.
Yeah, they're both terrific. Anyways, I do enjoy how she has all the minions blindfolded while she's having a bath, getting the loofah, scrubbing it up or whatever. But she doesn't, she has a new determination. She's going to figure out who that key is, and they're going to, figure out how to do that. They have a pretty good idea about who to go for stuff. So Buffy's now been called into Dawn's principal's office. Turns out Dawn has a little trouble playing hooky, it seems. Doesn't want to actually show up for class. Something that I, unfortunately, could very much see eye to eye with her at. It's a lot of time.
I was usually on time. I usually went to my classes.
I had the problem with the school wasn't very far away, so if I'd get up in time, I'd go to a couple of classes, go home for lunch, and sometimes just not go back. So it was not a terrific student. Kids, stay in school. Now, anyways, the principal wants to have a talk with Buffy alone, and we're gonna find out why here pretty quick what they're talking about. First, though, we're going to go to the magic box. Anya has come to realize she's a pretty patriotic gal here. Glad to be an American, especially because of her love of capitalism. Turns out that also browsers are un-American. You know what I mean?
Yes, Tara the American.
Yep. Also, French people are un-American as well. Anya has a very specific.
I called her Tara. I meant Anya.
We've been calling Tara a lot of Taras today. We had a Glory Tara.
Anya the American.
We got Glory's Tara. We got Anya's Tara.
Well, let's say Tara's American too, but
yeah, that's true. This is like was it being John Malkovich? We're just gonna Tara everything.
Yeah,
so
Anya the American, I meant.
Yes. Yep, good on Anya. She loves her stars and stripes and dollar bills. So, Buffy and Dawn are going to show up at the magic box. Xander's going to welcome Buffy to the world of the uneducated. It's very nice of him. Buffy says, of course, that famous, I'll probably go back next summer or next semester. Yeah. Was it? I think at one time it was 85% of people who drop out of classes never go back. So it'd be pretty unique of her to actually make it back then. Buffy then has to talk with Giles about what's happening with Dawn. She wants him to deal with it. She wants him to be the one to put his foot down. Again, this is something that will cause tension between them, and it's something that keeps sticking in his head. Something that will be brought up again. For a person that didn't write too many scripts, Rebecca Rand Kirshner has a bunch of ideas. Stick around, it seems. He says that he can't. He reminds her of how often she'd actually listen to him, and she's the one who's supposed to. He then tells her she's the only family Dawn has, and she needs her to step up. So, Buffy has to start thinking of herself as a grown up now. But before she does, she still asks Giles to do it again. One last kick at the passing the buck can, I guess. So, she goes back out to the shop. She gets mad at Dawn because she's laughing. They're all in a. The guys are all, or the Scoobies are all in a triangle. I don't know why she's getting mad at Dawn for this. Like, they're explaining, like they were talking about triangles. They're trying to do whatever it is, math problems and stuff like that, and then we get a cute triangle jokes and isosceles, whatever. They have a little talk, and Buffy's like, enough. She's got to go home. Willow gets a little pushy, I think, about this. Buffy says there's no way she can understand what's going on. Buffy's going to tell her she's getting freaked out about something. She can't go to the Renaissance Fair with Tara and her anymore. From now on, she's just going to start living Dawn's life. Easiest way to get around all of this is what, Brennan?
Lying?
I was I was gonna say the exact opposite. Might want to just talk to your friends about what's actually going on.
Okay, that's
Tell
true.
Fill Dawn in on what's happening. Fill
That's true.
everybody else's when it's happening or whatever. Everyone else can pick up just a little bit more responsibility. It takes the pressure off of herself.
Yes,
Everybody.
it'd be good to tell Dawn what's going on.
It would probably be good to tell Dawn what's going on, especially she keeps getting that out, and you're going to see it in a minute when she finally does. And all this could have been dealt with so much easier. But, we have to remember Buffy is 20 years old in the show and not prepared, I guess, for this. She had to, you know, be prepared for an entirely different life as soon as she turned 15. So I always have to have that in my head or whatever.
Yeah,
Always,
a 20 or 21-year-old trying to figure this out. Yeah.
I'm thinking as uh, you know, a post 25-year-old. I think that's a nice
Yes,
way of putting it.
I think I understand what you mean.
I'm thinking this. So, anyways, Gloria, meanwhile, has decided that's it. I guess they've had a talk. She knows who the key is, and now she's going to go collect it, Brennan. They put their collective smarts together.
Dun dun dun.
Willow's going to tell Tara what happened. Tara understands why Buffy's so crabby, but Willow still doesn't. Thinks it'll make Dawn more rebellious for some reason. When having Buffy over her all the time. Well, could be true. Then when Tara brings up what happened with when her mom died, it pisses Willow off. I just I understand.
Yeah, this was a little bit strange.
I understand for the show, you need the conflict there. You need a reason to separate Tara from the Scoobies. I get it. Just to go there with her mom and saying oh, my mom didn't die, so she feels like she's not part of some kind of group and stuff like that. And then it gets into the much bigger kind of stuff. Willow starts questioning, about her lesbo cred and all of this stuff. Tara says something offhanded, but maybe in a I think Will right in the front some kind of way that she is learning magic so fast it's scary, and this is something that Willow is going to latch up on, and this is something which is the absolute truth of Tara, and we're going to know this much more, of course, going forward as well. Tara just wants to go to the fair. Willow wants to know why Tara feels she can't trust her. I think that's also pushing it maybe a little further than this was actually going. And I think she's allowed to be scared about how fast power is growing within Willow, but the trust part I think isn't that. Tara's just worried that again it's growing so fast, so she's unsure the levels where Willow's heading, and what Willow says it's not about being a witch, it's the other changes and stuff like that. So she wonders if Tara thinks that this whole lesbian thing is just a college phase she's going through. Tara again fights back about this. I have no idea why she would do this. Like just seems out of character for Tara to say that just in this instance.
Yeah, it's a strange scene.
Yeah, so Willow's gonna walk out. She's gonna go over to the magic box, and they're great big cushions. Why do they have just cushions on the floor for people to chill out on?
Because it's comfortable.
I guess so. I would say this ain't a library. Not a library, guys. Not a library. You know, books are for purchase. That'd be a terrible.
Well, I'm
I
sure that Anya came up with some idea.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure she's just tired of the fight or whatever with Willow though too. And she's the one where she just kind of shrugs it off and stuff like that. But I would never be good at chapters. I would never be good at chapters. I
No.
was like, you need to buy something or get out. Anyways, the minions are watching through a window as Buffy fills Dawn in on this task box plan she has. This is her way of being a grown up, is like giving her gold stars. Yeah, now Don is like, yeah, this is supposed to go. I'm not real card again. I thought we were going to be done with all this. So, anyways, Buffy finally gets fed up and tells her that if she keeps up this crap, they're going to take her away. This kind of stuff. Don, she wants to know where she would go. Buffy mentions her dad. We all know that isn't an option.
No, since he didn't even come for Joyce's funeral.
Never even called her on the phone, and there's all this stuff. Yeah, Whedon did not like the actor playing Buffy's dad, so he really took it to her. He comes, well, we haven't seen the end of him. Anyways, yeah, the other choice, of course, foster care. All of this is a terrible thing, considering, what's coming after. Anyways, this is where we see Tara on that bench at the fair. Now, there's a pretty crappy Chinese dragon going around. Like, that is probably the worst one I've ever seen. But anyways, they had to make sure they showed it before everything goes on. Because someone goes and sits down at the bench and grabs Tara's hand.
Yes.
That ain't Willa. That's Glory. And she's figured out who the key is, she thinks. Then Willow goes and tells Giles about the fight that they had. It was their first one. He says, you're going to feel better now after apologizing. You're going to know the world's not ending. They always have to put those little stings in there and stuff like that. There's always an apocalypse around the corner. They got to think of a better way to summarize
Well,
stuff.
there's always one around the corner right now, so.
You got that, sure. Always a poor choice of words. Anyways, he's going to tell her that it'll pass and opens the door, closes it real quick because he just sensed, I guess, a minion was listening through it and stuff like that. So knocks him down. Now, he sits it down in a chair. It warns him to let him go or else the almighty Glorificus is going to get angered. Giles is like, yeah, well, she's not here, so we're going to have a little chat. And the minion says, well, he's not going to betray Glorificus. Giles asks why he's there. More bravado from a little guy. More stonewalling. So he asks for some twine. That's just on the thing. We're going to tie him up. And then he blabs everything. Turns out, somehow, Giles knew that these guys don't like being tied up. So, yeah, he then starts spitting out everything. Says Glory's going to find the witch and you can't stop her. That's when they realize, oh boy, they didn't. They weren't meaning Dawn when he was talking about the key. They were meaning Tara, and Willow's going to run the hell out of there. It tells Giles to call up Buffy. You see Glory grabbing Tara's hand. She starts grabbing it so blood starts pouring out, which is nasty. You can hear the sound, but Tara's not shrieking or anything like that because she tells her to scream and she'll kill people. You know, and she says, if anybody you wanna do anything, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna kill them. I'm gonna kill everybody. It's so good. So she says, humans aren't worth anything. Keys. Now that's worth a lot, Brennan, as you well know. But she decides to give that hand a lick, check out some of that key blood, and
Eek.
gets automatically grossed out because it's just rancid human blood and no good to anybody. So she doesn't like being lied to. But if Tara tells her who the key is, you know, she'll let her go. Then mentions the pain her fingers will make wriggling around in her brain and makes her feel like she's in a noisy little dark room. Brennan, she's naked and ashamed, and things in the dark are there that mean to do her harm because she's a bad person. For God's sakes, pinching things in her ears and skull, and that she knows the noise and crawling would stop. She remember how to get out, but it never will ever, Brennan. I love how she described that. That was awesome. And you can see in like all the guys that she's done this to before that kind of pain is there. As for Tara, it gets a little bit different. But anyway, she's gonna ask again who that key is, and Tara just doesn't answer. Tara is a pretty heroic moment for here. Then we finally see Willow there. Everything's gonna be okay. Willow's there. Starts an incantation to find Tara. She watches as Glory sticks her hands inside of her girlfriend. Then that Chinese dragon shows up again.
And gets in the way.
She politely waits. Why is she waiting for this dragon? Just push her through. Yeah. By the time she gets there, Glory's gone. Unfortunately, so is Tara. Tara's mind is blank. She has been sucked dry by Glory's hands, for God's sake. So Willow, of course, is going to start crying and apologizing to her. She's going to break down there on the bench. They're going to take her to the hospital. That hospital has gotten a lot of use. That's hospital set has really been
Yes,
a good
and
thing
I'm,
they
and
paid
I'm
for them.
watching the tent right now, so
Oh, maybe it's the same. Well, they should, I wonder if they have an adjacent mental ward in their hospital. I've
not
never
that
watched
I'm
the.
aware of.
We'll wait for season 3 of the Pit when Glory shows up. Anyways, no, they Scoop all this. Scoobies think that they can take better care of their loved one at home. Willow's like, oh, well, just can we take her and stuff like that. No one's learned from Joyce. It's better off just to leave her there for God's sakes. Doctor says she's got to spend at least a night there so they can do some simple tests. Brennan, simple tests on someone who's lost their mind in an instant, which is still crazy. And which they've seen before, and I know they've just discussed. They're filling in too fast. They got to let them go and stuff like that. But maybe give her a couple of days. You know what I mean? Anyways, Buffy finally shows up because she's going to apologize for being late. She dropped Dawn off at Spike, so looks like things are okay there after the whole Buffy bot incident and stuff like that. He's going to try and boost Donnie's morale. Accidentally blurts out, though, that maybe Glory will do something worse than death to her, which isn't ever nice to hear. You know what I mean? Did something worse than death. Now,
Yes, and yeah.
he's still battered from that absolute horrible beating he got from Glory not long before this. Dawn's going to call herself a lightning rod for pain and must be truly horrible to cause so much evil. Well, Spike isn't having it. He knows evil. He's a vampire. She counters that she can't be good. He's like, yeah, I'm not good either. Well, again, not to say nothing, but maybe Spike, you're not like the the peer she should have in this for sure, especially with your face all bashed in at the moment.
Yes. Yes.
So, nurse is going to take Tara away. Buffy tells Willow to rest since nothing you can do. So just take it easy. Willow says, "Oh, contraire, something I can do." You know what I mean? But she can't let what happened to Tara just slide. She tells her she's got to go. Buffett tells her, "You know what? You got to do it. Don't worry about it. You can't do anything against Glory." Willow, though, thinks she has the stuff here to take her on and is not leaving it up for Buffy to decide. See if we're getting a little pushback from Willow. This is more that we'll learn from coming up. Now, questions when the right time to actually take on Glory would be. And she says, when they're ready. They're just not ready to take on Gloria. She wants to know like if it's done, you know. Just like no, just when we're ready to do it, when they have a chance, we'll be able to take on Gloria. If not, just stay at home and think about your vegetative girlfriend and don't do anything rash. It'll be easy. So Will says, yeah, sure, okay. And then says, "I'm gonna get out of here. I just want to be alone, though, guys. Nobody hang out with me. Trust me, I'm gonna be fine. Just leave me
Oh
alone.
yeah, she'll be fine, all right.
I won't do anything." Except she goes straight to the magic box and up to the loft to grab weapons by the bag full, a bunch of potions that he just has up in the restricted area there, and then oh yeah, there's this gigantic book he has hidden in behind the other side where she would know about, just called Darkest Magic, Brennan. And when she opens it, she slams the thing to open. It goes to a specific page. And that's all we get to see. It turns
Yeah.
out when she's not feeling too nice anymore, Willem, she's a voracious reader. So let's remember that for next season. And I
Oh
think
yes.
even
Oh yes.
reading might be even pushing it. So we'll see Glory back at her place. I again absolutely love this scene. She's feeling absolutely baked from draining the witch's mind. She says it's a nummy treat, and then she knows the Slayer only has so many friends, so they'll just go and take all her friends until they get the key. It's a pretty easy idea. Something maybe they should have thought up before they just started doing random things. But buildings start shaking. Now they're in California. This could be an earthquake, but I think this one's
I
a
think we
little.
had one this morning, but I was asleep.
Oh, really? No, I don't get those. I get blizzards and floods. Those are the bad things, I guess, that happen here. But I've never experienced an earthquake. I'd probably be one of those guys freaking out, to tell you the truth. Now, turns out it wasn't an earthquake, anyways. This thing was supernaturally made because Willow was there. Willow floating in midair. Glory doesn't seem too bothered by it. She floats through the doorway, starts up a chant, and then tells Glory, to stop. She stops right in her track. Tells her that she owes her pain, and that's like the Emperor Palpatine. I thought of you as soon as I saw that thing again. It's like gonna
Yes. Oh yes.
first time you ever hear Glory scream in pain. This actually hurt her, which is something that's worth noting. And we're gonna see Buffy now at Spike's assuring Dawn that nothing going on is her fault. When she tells her that Willow is feeling a little paybacky, she managed to get her to chill out. No big deal. Spike asks sarcastically that yeah, she won't be doing anything rash then. Reminds Buffy that Willow's a powerful witch and pissed off to boot. Probably wants some revenge and didn't because her buddy said not to. And then, she said, I'd do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat if you loved him. And finally, Dawn says, what if she'd done it to me here, Buffy? Something that Willow, mind you, brought up. Finally, Buffy goes like, "Oh boy, guys, I'll catch you later." She runs off. Willow exploding a mirror at Glory. I don't know what she thought that would do. Cuts her dress all up, but Glory didn't really care about that dress. Anyways, swats Willow across the room with a backhand, like the pimp slap. It's gotta be the worst. You know what I mean?
Very humiliating.
Yeah, it's to get you thought you're doing some pretty good offense here, and just to get you know treated like that, unfortunate. Tells her how much she enjoyed sucking on her girlfriend's mind, and then Willow fires a whole bag of knives at her. Not just regular knives. These are pretty fancy knives. Why did he have so many of these fancy knives just lying around, for goodness sakes? Anyways, it didn't do anything to her either. Swatted them all away like she was in the Matrix or something like that. Now, Willow starts summoning serpents, but all of this magicking is getting her a little pooped out. Glory then throws a table at her. That serpent kind of wraps around weakly around an ankle and just poofs, just dissipates, and Glory moves. Then Glory's gonna do the patented Buffy the Vampire Slayer series throat grab. It's a classic going all the way back. But the thing about this throat grab is it would actually work. They're actually not throat grabbing a vampire. They're throat grabbing a human being. So Willow spits in her face, and that looked pretty gross. That was a good job by the makeup team. So I guess it's payback. Just to come to off the top of my head, if you get pimp slapped, I think it's okay to spit in someone's face. You know what I mean?
I would agree with that.
I think sometimes two wrongs make a right, and I think this is one of those instances. And now, Glory's doesn't feel the same way. She's gonna drag her across the floor, grab one of those fancy little knives, and tell her, you know what they used to do with these? Crucify witches. Then, luckily, for the story, Buffy shows up just in time as she says that, and says that they used to bow down to gods too. And then they get it on. They're starting fighting. Buffy manages to get her across the room, grabs Willow. She's going to just say that we're thickened and stop Glory in her tracks again. She's going to do the classic bad guy thing, yelling, "It isn't over," which is nice. So we're going to nice scene. Now, this is back at the dorm room at the end here. Buffy does something foolish. Buffy should have known better about this. Now, and I'll just say, I like the episode. I'll say I like the episode very, very much. But this part always bugged me. But, we'll go into this first. Buffy bringing Dawn to visit Tara. She knows how people who've had their minds drank by Glory act around Dawn.
True.
So, the other thing that kind of bugs me is, they're talking about it, and Willow's going to say she's my, she'd take care of her forever, and like she's her girl and stuff like that. All this very sweet stuff. Tara interacts with Dawn, and it's nothing. There's nothing there at all. It's just a regular interaction. Well, a regular interaction with a person that doesn't have a mind. You know what I mean? Plus, they're eating weird sandwiches. Why would they think that just a peanut butter and salami sandwich isn't something that, you could just ridicule? What is going on here? It's like, oh, eggplant's any different? Like, sure, an eggplant sandwich, it is what it is. But peanut butter and salami. All right. And then I started thinking, you know what? I wonder what a peanut butter salami sandwich would taste like. So you know what I did? I wouldn't make myself a peanut butter salami sandwich. I'm not that nuts. So, now, the whole thing is, everything gets forgiven. This entire scene that shouldn't have happened, really, gets forgiven in one quick swoop. of Glory's hand as she rips the entire wall away, and then we see her there. Tara finally acts up and talks about how Dawn is what a green glow she has and stuff.
Yes,
So now we know Glory. Now we know Glory knows who the key is. It's a great way to end the episode.
it is.
Yeah, just that scene, her ripping is so awesome. Now, next time, they're in a little bit of trouble. So what would anybody do who's trying to, maybe escape some troubles they have? It's easy. You go on a road trip. They're going on a road trip. Next episode,
Road
it's
trip.
Spiral. A great scene on the bus. Yeah, so many good scenes leading up to the end of the season. Brennan, thank you so much for joining
You're
me
welcome.
here on the show. Why don't you tell people what you're up to while you have a chance here?
Yes, you can find me on Blue Sky, Brennen Marr at bluesky.social.
Mm-hmm.
Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube at Page Turners They Were Not.
Thanks, buddy. And we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to do Angel here on Rewatchers Council. Finally, at the end of their season, things are going to start looking up as well. And I'm really enjoying Angel being not being such a weepy little crybaby. It makes a big difference to the enjoyment of the show. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow, same time here. Rewatchers Council, 5 o'clock Central Time, the smartest and, most affable time zone you can get. I'll also be on our sports channel, Good Friends, Better Rivals, coming this Tuesday for a very special starting 11. We're not going to be talking about Little Billy's drug use. We're going to be talking about the World Cup coming up. We got some time off in between Premier League matches, so with the group stage is finally set for the World Cup coming up in just a couple of months here in Canada, here in your United States of America, also Mexico. They're spreading it out throughout the entire continent, for goodness sakes. We're going to talk about each group, who we think could come out of the group, maybe our ultimate winners as well. So stay tuned for that, guys. And a little further down the way, about a week and a half after that, we'll be back with the post-whistle talk running up the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, and we'll do all our predictions stuff that with Ryan Christensen and Adelia. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. In the words of good old Glory, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you all again next time.